Hi, welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I am Stacey Earlywine, and it's just a really nice day out today.
It is. It's a beautiful summer day here in South Central Illinois, Clay County.
Knocking on the end of summer, but it's funny. Yeah. Summer doesn't even really, the whole month of August is still summer.
It is.
Why is it we get into that thought process that it's
because actually school starts and it starts so early, and you think about, well, the kids go back in the fall. Well, technically they go back.
In the summer.
It's still
not
summer.
my day. My day. I guess we would have. We didn't go back to school till after Labor Day, because when is the first day of fall is like what, the September 22nd, something like that.
Right.
My birthday is September 21st, and I think it's just right around there.
I think it probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. School starts this year on August the 17th. So
man,
it just gets
seems
earlier
and earlier.
Yeah. My kids don't want to talk about it. So
are they in mourning?
Yes, they are. They're super sad.
They're super sad, and they're
super sad. Summer's coming to an end. But
one day they're going to be super sad because they're not going to have summers off. They're going to have a job.
Well, that's right.
Go back. Oh my gosh, just think about that. When you think about children like getting upset, being sad because they got to go back to school, then reality hits. And how many of us, like, after we've been adulting for a few years, is like, man, I thought it was rough when I was going to school, but I had weekends off and summers off. And
yeah.
But a lot of kids don't have, a lot of kids are a lot of kids do work a lot, a lot of camps and stuff. I've never seen more
sometimes
baseball leagues.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Summer can actually be busier for some kids than their school year, which is a little sad.
Yeah, I find January to be a dead month, But then we start doing shows and that type of thing. So I don't know. Kind of crazy.
Yeah. What are we going to start our show off with today?
Well, you know what? You're going to want this.
Okay. I'm excited. What do you got?
You are going to want this. Let me get to the... Oh, first of all, okay, so it comes out of this... It's not really a magazine.
That looks old. What is it?
It is. It is from... It's called Good Stories. Here's the magazine we're coming out of, and it's got articles in it, but it's basically... You want to see? It's just like this... it's from Augusta, Maine, 1926. Okay. And it's just a magazine of just... There's the short stories that are in the magazine. But yeah, but there's lots of really fun ads from 1926.
I want to read the stories.
I know it.
That one guy on the front looks like a detective.
Yeah.
So there's probably some mystery.
I think that one is A Beggar in Harvest.
Ooh, a beggar.
One of the stories is The Ghost of Glenn George. Oh. And then another story is The Ways of Providence and A Wreath of Stars. So there's how many? 4 short stories in this.
Oh, cool.
And then in between here is all sorts of really old ads.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
What are we looking at?
Furs sky high. We need your furs.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Funston
Listen
brothers.
to this. Trappers, dealers, storekeepers. We need enormous quantities of skunk, coon, mink, possum, rats, and wolf at once.
Oh, no.
We are paying higher prices and giving better grading than any other house. This means more money than you can get in any other way. We want your furs and we'll pay sky-high prices for them. Ship yours to Funston Brothers and Company out of St. Louis, Missouri, headquarters for American Furs. Okay. Have you ever heard of a fur coat made out of skunk?
No. How do they get
rats?
The smell out of it?
Yes.
Rats. I mean, honestly, who knows? You see those old fur coats and you think, oh, that probably came from a mink or something, but
no.
I don't know.
They want your skunk, they want your coon, possum, and rats, and wolves.
At once.
At once.
They're very demanding. It's not like, hey, think about us for your business. It's like, no, you send them to us at once. We want them now.
We need them now. At the top right-hand corner of that, it says, skunks, plentiful in every state.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. Okay.
I don't want any kind of fur coat made out of skunk.
I'm just thinking what it would look like.
I don't want a fur coat at all, but.
I mean, because it'd be like, well, black and white.
Yeah. A little Cruella de Vil look going on.
That's what I was thinking too. How would you?
Maybe they took it apart. Maybe they only used they filled in with the black on.
I don't
sewed
know,
it in.
but
I don't know. I
and
don't know
rats. How many rats would it take to make a
coat? No
and
wonder
rats
they
are-
need them. So
If have you ever felt a mink coat?
yeah,
Yeah, but or a rabbit coat. Well, see, I'm an '80s girl, 1980s.
Rabbit, yeah.
Coats were big, but I'm thinking possum. That would be short.
but maybe
A
they
wolf
used,
would be pretty because it would be thick and full.
but maybe they use those other furs like to fill in places.
And coons are just too cute to do that too.
Yeah,
Could you imagine be walking down the street? Oh, that's a coon because you have a little. I can't even go
that's
there.
gross.
I can't
The
even
whole
go
thing
there.
really grosses me out because they're asking for all these skunk furs to be sent to them. Whose job was it at this place in St. Louis to open the mail?
Oh my gosh, I never
And
even
then
thought about
here
that.
comes a big shipment. Oh, it's skunks.
That's
And the poor mail person that had to deliver them, like in the back of their truck. I got a big box full of dead skunk fur that they reaped.
Beth. Oh, I never even thought about that.
Yeah, that's gross.
That's gross. That's like way gross.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I had just never seen furs sky high. Funston Fur Company out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought that. Of course, down below with the free gray hair restored, but
Yeah.
we'll do it.
That's a whole other story.
That's a whole lot of hair on that lady, but yeah, how interesting. I mean, I just never,
Yeah.
ever.
Wowzers.
I don't
That was
know.
a good one. I like that one.
That was a good one.
But
yeah.
I feel like we need to jump in today's
We
story
do because
we have a lot.
We have a lot,
And we
it's-
are going to talk about one crazy guy.
I
Cocoa for cuckoo
for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, that's this
what
guy.
I never heard of him.
I never heard of him too, but he's lived right here in Clay County 4 years.
He
and
was
he's
a Clay
buried in
City boy.
City.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Clay City man, Clay City boy.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about John Adam Battenfield. Okay. John A. Battenfield. I'm guessing he's probably named after John Adams, the second president of the United States. Whereas his dad's name was George Washington Battenfield, the first president of the United States. So they kind of had a little bit of a theme here. John did not have any sons, so he didn't continue it, but they could have just named all their kids after presidents. But okay, so John Battenfield. Dad was George Battenfield. His mom was Mary Ann Battenfield. And he was born on September the 8th of 1876 in Napoleon, Ohio.
Napoleon, Ohio.
He grew up in Ohio. He didn't grow up in Clay County. He went to Tennessee for college at what is now called Johnson Bible College. Many people around here have heard of that. There's people that still go to that college. And when he was young, he decided he wanted to be a preacher. And that's how he ended up in Clay City. So he finished up college and accepted a preaching ministry with the Clay City Church in 1896.
And the funny thing about that, it doesn't say what denomination at that time. It just says a Clay City church.
I'm pretty sure it was the Christian church.
The Christian church.
And then he also filled the pulpit at the Xenia Church as well. And it was during this time that he met and married Miss Lulu Kaiser of Clay City. So
Two names that we don't hear about anymore.
And then they moved on in 1899 to hold a successful 4-year ministry with the Christian church in Fairfield. So then they went to Fairfield for a few years.
I think that was pretty common for pastors, right? Just to go around and do. Yeah.
So after he preached in Fairfield, while he was preaching in Fairfield, he began a series of powerful messages from the Revelation, the book of Revelation in the Bible.
Apparently,
chapters 2 and 3.
Apparently, he was a very smart young man.
He was.
And by the time he was 14 years old, was already preaching the book of Revelation.
By the time he was 14 years old, he had memorized the book of Revelations.
Yeah. And okay, so all the biblical people out there, you're Christians, Revelations, I can't even hardly read through it. I don't understand it all. And this kid at 14 years old hasn't memorized.
He hasn't memorized. I'm not sure that he really truly understood it all because we're going to get into some of his preachings and maybe you agree with him. I don't know. But I didn't. And I thought that he basically, what we would call a guy like this today is a cult leader.
He definitely was
He
a
was
cult
a
leader.
cult leader. And he started his cult right here in Clay County, in Clay City.
Fun.
Yes, so He's 14 years old. He memorizes the book of Revelations. He starts preaching at 16, goes to Johnson Bible College, moves to Clay City, becomes a preacher there, then meets his wife, and then they preach all over. And then it said that he was a magnetic and influential speaker and expressed his belief at many area churches, including Sisney, Fairfield, Olney, Flora, Louisville, and Clay City. His gospel meetings attracted many followers from all walks of life.
They said he had a larger-than-life personality, and he was a very good singer.
Yes.
So he was talented. He was smart. Do we have a picture of him?
We do have a
what
picture.
What does he look like?
Let's see the picture. He's nice looking, but he
looks very put together.
He looks a little intense. He has a look in his eye like, I know more than you know.
I like that little smirky grin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But a nice-looking fella.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's who we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder how old he was in that picture. You think he's like in his early 20s?
I don't know.
I don't know.
He might be older than that. I bet he's in his 30s.
Yeah. Nice.
But back then, everybody looked old at a young age.
Well, that's true.
He could have been 18 for all we know.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, seriously, remember that episode on yearbooks? And all all the seniors in high school all looked like they were 35 or 40 years old?
Yeah, that is
why?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's kind of crazy.
Okay, so his sermons were said to be very powerful, and he told them of his plan of action, which would edify his calling. He and his followers wanted to seek a utopia where they would build a better world and await the conflicts that were thought to be at hand.
Mm-hmm. So he's thinking...
Yes.
It's what year is it? 1926?
Yes.
So it's the year 1926.
Mm-hmm.
Charismatic, not bad looking guy. Are his daughters born at this time?
I don't know that his daughters were
and he's like, we need to create our own utopia.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So while he was a preacher around here, his sermons got really out of hand, and they were a little verging like he was trying to be prophetic and say things, and they told him to soften his messages. That's what the church told him, to soften his message, and he refused. And so then after that, he kind of took a little bit of a sabbatical for 3.5 years and worked on the farm.
So he's very charismatic. He's preaching. Well, and if he knows Revelations by heart, that's what he's going to. So we're talking hellfire and brimstone here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
And you need to cool the waters.
Right.
You need to calm down, crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
you're a little bit.
He calmed down a little bit. I think, is it already time for a commercial break? Okay.
15 seconds from a break. Go ahead.
So, no, what I'm going to say next is a big part of the story. So I'm going to hold off on that. Let's take a break, and then we'll be right back. I'll tell you more.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas.
Wait,
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
And welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Early Weiner. We are talking about an extraordinary gentleman.
We are.
From Clay City originally. I'd say it's probably he's just a cult leader.
He's a cult leader. And we're getting to the part about the cult, but for right now, he's just a preacher.
Right now,
at
he's
a Christian
a preacher.
Church. He's preaching in Fairfield, Sisney, Clay City, Louisville,
baptizing,
Xenia. He baptized hundreds of people. He brought to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
which
sure,
is good.
Which is good. I'm not sure at this point he had exactly kind of went as far as he does later in the story. He's trying to do good things. He has a lot of people that love him. People drive from all over to come hear him preach.
Churches are growing.
Churches are growing. He's like, within like 8 months, he had like more than tripled the size of one of his churches. Everyone loved this guy.
Yeah, he was very well loved by his people.
Really brought people in. Okay, and then he started writing, and he started writing for Standard Publishing Company of Cincinnati, Ohio. They wanted to put his ideas in print. And he started writing a series of articles for the Christian Standard, which was a weekly journal from a publishing company at that time. Okay. You could subscribe to it. It could be sent to your home. It was a national publication, and he started writing for the Christian Standard. This was in 1914, and prior to that. But in 1914, they took all of his articles and put them into a book. And they titled the book called it The Great Demonstration. It received national acclaim.
Now,
wonder his book was national. Like, if they had a best selling list, then he would have been on it. He would have been on the New York Times best-selling list.
Do you think the title, The Great Demonstration, I mean, I wonder why they named it Demonstration. And I wonder if we can get that book still.
I don't know.
I wonder if we can. I bet we can. Be interesting to have.
Yeah.
But Demonstration's kind of a weird name for a biblical.
Right. Back then, words had different meanings, too.
Right.
Demonstration might have meant something else. But, okay, so he started writing about things that he thought were going to happen. And he began naming countries, particular names of countries that he thought were going to fall in upcoming conflicts.
Do you think that maybe at this point, see, he's very charismatic, he's growing, he's baptizing, and now he's got a national book out there? Do you think that's what maybe like throws him to the, because there's got to be some sort of
he got
point,
a big head at some point.
And there's got to be some point where he's probably thinking God's saying, hello, Mr. Battenfield.
I'm going to tell you a secret.
I'm going to tell you.
He even set dates for some of his prophecies. He said this will happen on a certain day. And then he predicted wars, he predicted natural disasters, and spoiler alert, none of them happened. Okay.
What?
No, they didn't.
You mean the end of the world didn't happen?
No. So this was his boldest revelation, was the return of the Lord to the earth in 1927. So he predicted Jesus' second coming would be in 1927. Now we're all here, and we all know that did not happen.
Almost 100 years later.
Yeah. So his book was selling. People were attracted to the ideas. He was riding high on his fame and success.
He was.
However, the combination of success and a great amount of influence can get out of hand, and it led to some distressing developments.
Can we talk just a little bit about, like, when he's talking about, like, when Jesus comes? Are we to the point of the show where it's like, so we're getting rid of we're not riding horses anymore? Are we at that point?
No, we're not at that point yet.
Okay, because I can't wait to get there because that's fascinating.
Yeah, okay. So his predictions concerning the destruction of all these countries, Rome, Great Britain, Turkey, all of these didn't come true. And the editor of the Christian Standard, the guy that has been publishing all of his writings and watching them get crazier and crazier and having all these, predictions that didn't come true, he said, you know what? It's time that Brother Battenfield should begin to understand that his prognostications have been weighed in the balances and found wanting. So that means he's coming up short. And it is time for him to make good on a few of his predictions before he seeks further notoriety through us.
We're not going to publish the next book until the Lord comes back.
That's right. He's saying, until some of this actually happens, we're not... Right now, you're just rambling, and nothing that you're saying is coming true.
I love it.
Battenfield found his back against the wall. And he
Aw.
had been brought to task before the entire brotherhood and would be required to make some changes.
Poor Battenfield.
But his most ardent followers had a plan, and they would band together, pool their resources, and settle in a land of more peaceful surroundings.
Yeah.
Battenfield and his disciples would become known as the Incoming Kingdom.
Yes.
That's what they named their group, the Incoming Kingdom.
Yeah.
Okay, so because he was denied space in the leading newspapers and journals, so not just the Christian Standard, all of a sudden
No.
now nobody wanted him.
Right.
Here he was, this bestseller national author. Now everyone's
And now
like,
he's done.
you kind of went off the rails a little,
Yeah.
and no thanks, we don't want you writing. So he began his own weekly publication, as one does when you're denied publication.
Well,
in any
why
other.
wouldn't you?
And it became known as the Kingdom Harbinger. And Harbinger means bringer of news that
Yes.
is yet to come.
And it was edited by his brother, Ben Battenfield.
Yes, Ben.
So Ben Battenfield is his brother, so he must have
and
some.
he was very involved in all of this too. So John had 5 siblings. Okay, 2 of them followed him
Only
that I
2?
can track down. Ben is one of them. I'll come across the other one's name here in a minute. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But the other ones, I don't think that they followed him. Okay, so the next question was where to move. They were
Well-
going to move away. Clay County didn't want them, so where were they going to move? They thought about Kentucky. Thought about Tennessee. Not that one either. They sent a scout out to look around for the perfect location for their community.
For their utopia.
Their utopian
Their utopia.
community. And they decided on a small town in Arkansas named Gilbert, Arkansas.
Gilbert,
It was
Arkansas.
on the banks of the Buffalo River.
Yeah.
Very hilly.
I really
very
wanna go there now.
Peaceful. It sounds beautiful.
It does sound beautiful.
Okay. In 1920, Battenfield rounded up about 250 of his followers. They bundled up their belongings, their farm machinery, everything, and they shipped them to the Arkansas hills.
There is his main person, though, is very important, and
Yes.
that would be
His
C.E.
wife.
Jordan,
Oh, no.
the backer.
Okay.
C.E. Jordan of Allendale, Illinois, described by Chronicles as an oil-rich farmer and millennialist.
Oh, okay.
Made 7 scouting trips to Gilbert for Battenfield before picking it as the site for the colony. So he had a rich oil farmer
That's
that backed him,
was financing
and he
him.
actually bought the land for the community, divided it into lots. Of from 2 to 3 acres, and charitably sold the lots to incoming colonists at cost.
Right. This is a point of problem, though. Okay, so let me get to that for a minute. So they shipped everything to Arkansas, but they did not bring automobiles with them because cars were sinful, and so were railroad trains. So although trains could not be very well dispensed, their automobiles soon vanished, and he made all of them ride on donkeys because he believed that you had to be like the Bible times.
Yeah.
They had to grow their beards, grow their hair, and ride
everything
donkeys
went back
around their community.
See,
But-
I'd have been out right then.
Okay, so this is a really interesting note here,
It
is
is.
that 250 people followed him, except
Wow.
his own wife and children refused to go. His
Well, why-
his wife, Lulu, and I think was probably a smart woman, she probably knew he was crazy.
Well, I bet. Well, she lived with him. Yeah.
She said no, she's staying behind. And she stayed at their home in Clay City for a little while, and then she ended up moving in with her parents in Olney, and she lived there for the rest of her days.
But they remained married, right?
They
I mean,
remained
divorce
married,
wasn't
and
a
we're
thing.
going to get to the end of the story because
That's
another spoiler
crazy.
alert: he comes back to Clay County. Okay, so they're out there in Arkansas
Oh,
living
my
this
gosh.
utopian dream.
How long would it take to get to Arkansas on a donkey, Beth?
I don't know that they actually traveled there on donkeys. That's not clear.
Okay, wait.
But
we
once
sold our
they-
cars once we got to our utopia.
Well, it
then we
said
got
that-
donkeys.
I think they rode the train out there because
Yeah.
they said they couldn't get rid of the train. They did sell their cars, but I don't think they took the donkey all the way there. But once they were there, they only rode donkeys. And this is a quote from him. Man must return to his natural state and throw aside the vanities of the devil. Oh,
Whoa.
no, this is one of his followers that said this. It is only then that he will be fit to dwell with God.
Well,
And so the natives of Gilbert, the people that already lived there, were a little concerned because they were like, how are these people going to make a living? There's not much here, and now we have all these mouths to feed. How are they going to, are they going to grow their own food? What are they going to do? But they did kind of set up their own little town where they had a printer so they could print their magazine, the Harbinger, Kingdom Harbinger.
Yep.
And they had a general store and gardens and different things like that.
I mean, it would be like, you know, because I would imagine you got 200 people, 200 different types of talent. We're all going to create our own community. So you've probably got the baker that started a bakery and the hairdresser that's cutting everybody. Well, you don't need a hairdresser now because they're all growing their hair out.
So, so that was
everybody. And you had the rich guy, that Jordan of Allendale, probably financially backed a lot of it. Yeah.
So that all happened in 1920, but then in 1921, another big group of them came. I think it was over 100 people came. The rest of the people that were there, his followers here in Clay County and Wayne County in this area, but probably didn't have all their ducks in a row to leave immediately but they sold everything and got ready, and they all came as a group on October the 9th, 1921.
Did we say what they called themselves?
We did. It was the...
Incoming
Kingdom, right?
Incoming Kingdom Missionary Unit.
Okay. Yeah. Unit. Okay. But so now he's all set up in Arkansas, and he is preaching. His Sundays were like a lot of preaching. I think this guy preached pretty much all week long as anybody would listen to him. And listen to him they did. And there is a whole list of people that were members. I have a list here, but they were mostly Wayne County, Clay County, a lot of Sisney people, Flora people. It's just kind of sad that they left everything they had and went out there.
It is sad.
And then once they got there, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch did an article on them, and they wrote about them and went out there. And the way that the article started was about how sad they all looked, and they were just had this look of mourning and mournfulness on their face as they rode around silently on these donkeys. And it was just painted a really sad picture.
There's got to be a certain point where you get out there and you've sold everything and you're living like biblical times, which would not be easy.
Right.
And you're talking the foothill. You're talking the Ozarks, basically.
Oh, right. Yeah, it was the Ozarks.
It's going to be rough living.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah,
But we need to take a quick commercial break, and you can come back here shortly with more Battenfield.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank.
We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online bank, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be.
Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend, and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting, and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
And welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we are talking about one crazy dude from Clay County named John Battenfield, who actually became a cult leader.
The great cult leader.
Yeah.
I got the funniest thing. It says one of the things, and they ended up taking their colony to Arkansas. One of Arkansas's quirkiest religious groups, the incoming Kingdom Missionary Unit, located in Gilbert, Searcy County, was founded shortly after World War I. But I think it's funny. Arkansas's okay. We got the quirkiest religious group ever, and they're from Clay County, Illinois.
Yeah,
how fun!
That was a nice way to put it. Quirky.
You know, you think about it for a little bit. So, like we've talked about how there's like 200 people that they've, one of the articles I read was, a lot of them, they were business people, smart people. Sometimes they get tired of like the organized church. So you've got this charismatic, nice looking, smart, intelligent person going, hey, you know what? I've got my utopia here. The problem that they don't understand is when they call themselves communalists, but really you're living a socialist life.
Right.
Because when you take your colony and everybody leaves and takes their gifts with them, you're expected to share everything. And I think this was one of the other downfalls of where we're at now. Utopia is not so much fun when you're working really hard and it's basically socialist. It says communalists, a.k.a. socialists, are inclined to want a share of what possessions others have, but keep to themselves their own possessions. I don't think they had any clue of when they got out there exactly how hard it's going to be. Because let's face it.
And isn't that a reoccurring theme with cult followers? They get there and they're like, this isn't what I expected.
It is. Because some are just going to give more than others.
Oh, right.
Your doctor's going to work harder than anybody else.
Yeah.
And then who's going to... you know what I mean?
Oh, right.
The people growing the food and cooking the food and giving the food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet once they got out there, didn't you say one of the people were like, they looked like miserable people walking around and it'd be horrible.
Yeah. Hey, I think we have a picture of a couple of their followers.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Let's see if Ty can pull that up for us. I'll put him on the spot. Here we go.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, I love that picture.
Yeah, aren't they beautiful? Look at that handlebar mustache. This is Dan and Dell Reed Dennis of Sisney, and they were followers. They moved out there, followers of John Battenfield, and they look like they have money.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a nice little pocket watch chain there and all dressed up, and she's beautiful in a pretty gown. And, these are actually related to Rena and Don Thomas. This was some of their distant relatives, and so they actually one year decided to drive out to Gilbert. This particular couple decided to stay there, and they ended up raising their family there. So actually, Rena and Don, and I don't remember which side of the family it was on, if it was Rena's side or Don's side, but they went out there and visited with the descendants of these two.
Oh, yeah.
That were their family. And talked about all of this whenever Rena was researching it. So
that's really interesting. And and the thing about it is you also their utopia is literally considered the coldest spot in Arkansas.
Yeah.
So it's freezing.
Yeah.
Utopia to me is not freezing.
Yeah, I know. I like winter, but I live in a house that has central heat. Okay, this is in the 20s.
This is in the 20s. It's not happening.
Probably had uninsulated little shacks. Is probably what he built them.
Can you imagine?
But anyway, so let's just say that the followers quickly became disenchanted.
I love the word disenchanted.
They were starting to wake up from their sleep and realized
Prince Charming's a fraud.
Prince Charming's a fraud. He's predicting a lot of things that aren't actually happening.
I love it.
And the other thing is, after he bought all of this land in Arkansas, he sold it to them for what he said was cost. But they learned in time that they were paying Illinois prices for Arkansas land. So he made money on it.
Wow.
And they were not happy with his decisions.
I love that.
But at the beginning, they were willing to go along with whatever he decided.
Yeah.
Later, they were starting to question him.
Right.
And that was one of the reasons that some of the people ended up leaving. So let's see. So let's talk about the 1927. He predicted that the Lord was coming back, and he didn't. So it says,
what?
He didn't show up.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert. And honestly, like, these poor people, like, I think he just really took the words of the Bible and, like, twisted them to fit his, what he wanted.
Are we not living that now?
Well, right. But I mean, it does say in the Bible, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, like, that no one is ever going to know the time.
You're never going to know
that Jesus comes back. There's no one on earth that's ever going to know that. And so,
a
big red flag when the guy at the front says, "Oh, I know when he's coming back. It's 1927." You run, because no, that's not.
The other part I loved about the story too, it's like, it kind of makes you wonder if all he ever did study was Revelations and not the rest of the Bible.
Because
he's missed the boat so much. First of all, because it's like, okay, so we can't have horses, we got to go on donkeys because Jesus rode a donkey, and we need to make our utopia like it was when he was here, when he was born, before he was crucified. But it's like, God doesn't care about the world. God's all about heaven, and he wants us to have good. But it's like, why are you creating the place that he left, that he's taking us out of too?
Yeah, God doesn't care about if you're on a donkey or not.
He doesn't care.
But we're going to try not to put our views into this show. But so as the predicted time came and went, the group was not altogether upset. John Battenfield, however, almost suffered a nervous breakdown. This says he almost suffered a nervous breakdown. I believe that he did almost, but then I think here shortly he actually suffers one. The final blow, this is when I think he has the nervous breakdown. So first of all, Jesus didn't come back. His followers are like, it's okay. It's probably, we were just off by a little bit. It'll be okay. And he's like starting to lose it. But then one of his very best friends, a beloved member of their community, died. One of his best friends died.
Yeah.
And he believed, or at least pretended to believe, that he could bring that guy back to life.
Yes.
And he tried. Yeah. He tried to bring this guy back to life, thought he was going to pull off a miracle, and the attempt failed. Believe it or not.
It didn't. Lazarus didn't happen.
No. So after that, his behavior became somewhat erratic, and he eventually left the colonists for an unexplained mission. Hey, y'all, I got a mission for God. I'm going to go do a mission real quick, and I'll be back.
Aren't they called the Blues Brothers?
Yeah.
Didn't the Blues Brothers do that? I'm on a mission from God.
I don't know. I never watched that. Okay.
What?
I didn't.
Well, how did you miss the Blues Brothers?
I was probably a baby.
Well, you're going home to watch that today. It's got the best music in it ever. But anyway.
Okay. So he had left his two brothers, Ben and Sam. That was the other one, the two that had followed him. Ben and Sam Battenfield in charge. And then he apparently never returned. For any length of time.
Was he like supposedly going out to Washington, D.C. on his mission from God?
I don't know.
I read
is
something.
That where he said he was going?
Yeah, he was headed to Washington, D.C. on his mission from, he's going to go out there and fix what was happening out there.
Okay. So he left his two brothers in charge, told everyone, hey, you know what, it's fine, I'll be back. I'm just going to go do this. And then basically he never really returned. I think there was a few times he stopped in just like overnight and stayed for a short amount of time, but he never came back and was a leader. And so then all of these followers are kind of picking up on this. They're like, hey, what's going on? Where's this guy? Why isn't he here? And they begin to trickle away from the community.
Right. So the brothers didn't have what he needed.
No.
I mean, they didn't have what they wanted.
I think the brothers, though, I mean, they did a lot of baptizing people, too. Like that Ben Battenfield, he baptized a ton of people. I kind of, in support of them, I kind of feel like some of his followers had the right idea. They really did want to be good Christians. They just had a poor leader that they thought was a great leader.
I also read it here. In February 1925, a desperate Battenfield promised his flock that he would bring back to life a member of the unit who had died. Some local residents say it was a little girl who had fallen from the nearby Red Bluff. However, after 3 public attempts, he failed in his attempt at resurrection.
Okay, well, so the article I had said it was he tried that with his best friend.
Yeah.
He may have tried it with both.
I love that. He probably
did.
It says, broken in spirit, the frustrated Battenfield retreated to the Star Mountain to rest for a few days, then departed for Washington, D.C. on another unexplained mission.
Okay.
He apparently never returned to Gilbert. Publications of the Kingdom Harbinger was suspended immediately.
Uh-oh. No more magazine.
And then the colonists began to trickle away. Mm-hmm. By 1955, only a few of the original colonists remained.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of them came right back here to Illinois, where they were from.
Back
Some of them had not enough money to do so, and they stayed. Some of them actually liked Gilbert, Arkansas, and stayed. And their family, I think they actually liked it out there. It was pretty.
Did you ever... part of one of the big things that he was worried about was a big war between the Catholics and the Protestants. Mm-hmm. He thought that there was also going to be war, and I think that's one of the reasons why they went up into this supposed utopia, because if there was a war broke out between... They were hiding between the Protestants and the Catholics.
Yes.
So that was one of his big fears, because we're talking, this is between World War I and World War II.
But I think he also thought World War I was going to ignite
with Catholics and Protestants.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But so this guy, he had a lot of highs and lows.
Yeah, he did. But
he really did.
His followers, a lot of them left in the middle of the night. Quietly left.
Ruh-roh.
Because they were trying to avoid confrontation with the ones that were still loyal. So they were all this family, all of these people are real, they only hang out with each other.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they kind of had to leave in the middle of the night, I guess.
But that's kind of typical of cults, right? Don't let people escape. Because you're still going to have the ones that are serious. Even after, I don't know, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around being in a cult, I guess, because I can't, I don't know. It would be just, I don't know. I think you'd have to be a certain type of person, maybe. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. This guy, you're very charismatic. I don't know.
Yeah,
if Elvis came back today, I don't know.
Some people are just followers. I mean, they really like it when somebody else is doing the thinking, and they follow along. So whenever Rena and Dawn went, and it was in the late 1970s that they went to Gilbert, Arkansas to visit their family that lived there, Dan and Dell Dennis. And that was actually the people that we saw in the picture, I believe, is who they actually got to visit. That's pretty cool. That was Dawn's great uncle and aunt. So to answer that question,
so it's on the Thomas side.
On the Thomas side, they were not sorry for relocating there, and they some people were too embarrassed or too poor to come back home to Illinois, but that wasn't the case with the Dennises. They just actually liked it there, and Mr. Dennis was in real estate, and he chose to stay there.
That's a beautiful area.
At the time that they went back there, the population of Gilbert was 32 people. That's how small of a town this is. So Gilbert, Arkansas, even before this group settled there, it was only like 45 people.
So it was just a stop in the road.
It's like a community here in Clay County, maybe like Horde.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
a very small community.
Let's take a quick break and we'll come and wrap this up.
Okay.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Pegel's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Pegel Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Royal King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Rural King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and we are wrapping up our cult leader from Clay County.
Yes, John Battenfield.
John Battenfield.
John Adams Battenfield.
Love it.
Mm-hmm. So I was going to say one of his missions that he went on that I didn't mention the first time, it was to New York. He was determined he was going to go to New York and convert all of the Jews. Good luck with that one. They probably laughed him right out of the city.
He did go to New York.
He went to New York. That was one of his missions.
How funny. God love him.
Yes. So anyway, John Battenfield did not live forever. He
and wonder if he predicted his own death.
I don't know.
He was lived to be pretty old. I mean,
he lived to the age of 76.
Okay.
So he was born in 1870. He was born in 1876, and he died in 1952.
Mm-hmm.
His wife, Lulu Kaiser Battenfield, she was born in 1874, and she died the same year as he did in 1952, and she was 78. So she was just a little bit older than him. But anyway, by 1930, he had came back to this area. So he originally took the people out there in 1920. So it was only a little less than 10 years that whole stint in Arkansas lasted.
So a 10-year utopia.
Yeah, except for the people that decided to stay, and there were some that did like it there and stayed, but most people came back. So they came back, and his family they lived in Olney. So remember his wife, she never even went. She lived for 10 years, and she raised two girls. Basically, without their dad, raised two girls in Olney, living with her parents. And so then all of a sudden, the dad comes back from this stint, and I wonder what those little girls thought. Like, Dad's back home.
Because they would have been teenagers when he came back home. How'd that work out?
I would say not very good.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs is back.
Yes, yeah.
And I wonder if he just walked in the door and been like, hey, you know, kind of didn't.
Stay here.
I wasn't the right hand of God after all.
Yeah.
So I don't.
I tried to make some predictions. None of them came true. No one's interested in listening to me. I think I'll just come back here and be a preacher.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's what he did. So he and Lulu were living in Olney with their kids, and he began pastoring Christian churches again. Now, it doesn't say this in any of my research that I've read, but I think he toned it down a little bit from that point on.
Oh, he would have had to have been humbled big time.
I think
he would have had to have been.
I think he definitely kind of came around and realized, like, hey, maybe he decided to read the whole entire Bible.
Instead of
not
just Revelations.
the book of Revelations and then go from there. But he began pastoring Christian churches, and I believe that he was traveling around to different churches, and when he died in 1952 in Holmes County, Ohio. So he didn't die in this area, but he is buried in Clay City, at the Clay City Cemetery, and so is his wife, Lulu.
So the funny thing about it is, so he's gone. So he didn't raise his children. He didn't raise his children. He wasn't a good husband. He could have been a good husband. He left her. So, and I wonder if, like, whenever he started back to traveling again, when he died in Ohio, I wonder if she was with him, if she went with him, or if she just was like, hey.
They were in their 70s at that point, and she was 2 years older than him. So she died that same exact year in 1952, and she would have been 78 years old. So I doubt she was with him in Ohio.
Yeah, I bet she'd stayed there. So I got to read this one little thing that was in here. It's just a funny thing. And it's like, this is from some of the people in Arkansas. And this one quote from this one gentleman said, "Us old timers knowed there wasn't enough in these hills to feed them that was already there," said a grizzled mountaineer to the Post-Dispatch reporter. "But they said they didn't come to make no money, but only to get away from the war. Now I reckon they need money worse than they did a hiding place from the war. A dollar would look as big as a wagon wheel to any of them."
Yeah, no kidding.
Now I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a story, though.
It is an interesting story. And then but like I said, the part he'd struggle with is like you're doing all that. I mean, I guess he must have took a book out of the disciples. I mean, the disciples did leave their families behind to go do what they thought was, but the disciples were following Jesus. So, but it does. I don't know. I just, what type of person would leave their wife and they're in the 20s, right after a war? We're knocking on the Depression.
Right. Oh, yeah.
This is all during the Depression.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We didn't even take that into fact that
the
they're going
Depression
up into the mountains during the Depression.
Yeah. And Ben and Sam, his brothers, their wives and children went with them.
They did go
They
with them.
did go, yes. The whole families went.
Well, it makes you wonder
I
then
think
what type of-
John's family was the only one that did not go.
How interesting
and when
is
you
that?
go through the list of all of the people that went,
Yeah.
they're all the family. The Mrs. Anderson, 2 sons, Ernie and Pyle. They were from Wayne County, Illinois. The Riley Baker family, wife and 2 sons, Noel and Redden. They owned the store in Gilbert. The Ben Battenfield family, wife and 2 or 3 adopted daughters. John Battenfield, no family. The Sam Battenfield family, wife Belle and at least 3 of their children, Paul, Lydia, and Ted. Cal Bing, a bachelor when he first came. He later married Ida King. He was from Sisney. The Dr. Edwin Bing family. See, here's a doctor
Here's
that
a
went.
doctor that went, yeah.
Wife Cora, sons Alvin and David. They were from Altamont. The Llewellyn or the Lutz Bing family, wife Anna Mary and their children Clara, Bernetta, and Estelle. The Fred Brock family, all of these are lots of families. Brock was a barber from Fairfield. Another Brock family from Fairfield, Mrs. Mary Brown. She was Sam Battenfield's daughter, so she was a grown daughter, and she had her son and daughter there, but no mention of her husband. He was probably like, y'all are crazy. Go ahead and go
without me.
Mr. Bryan, he had 5 children. The E.E. Bryant family from Mississippi. The Beecher Sisney family, they were from Sisney. The Ralph Sisney family, Ralph was a school teacher. The Miller Covington family were from Richland County. I mean, I could keep going, but Sisney is well represented. There's lots of Sisney families.
Lots of Sisney went.
There's another doctor, Dr. Gilman, another school teacher. I mean, there was 250 people, so I'm not going to go through all of them, but
that's a lot of
there
families.
was a lot of families and a lot of children. And what a change for those kids that ended up being hauled out there, and all of a sudden they're riding around on donkeys.
Oh my gosh, I can't even fathom it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't fathom it at all.
Yeah, I can't either. Poor kids.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. You know, do you watch documentaries? I love to watch documentaries, and I was watching one, on Jim Jones. Of course, this is nothing like,
Yeah, not near as bad as Jim Jones. Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, it is amazing to me how it just takes that one person to,
Yeah.
to bring it. It's just, we got a little bit of time here. It's like, because people, in all of my talkings to Christian people, they're like, well, how will we know? How do you know if you're not, people could proclaim their Jesus, and how do you know it's not Jesus that's back, and what if you don't follow him? It's like, because when Jesus comes back, the sky's going to open up. He's coming down with Lord of Lords written on his thighs on a big white horse. You're not going to mistake. When Jesus comes back, people, we're going to know it. It's going to be an amazing, exciting time when Jesus does come back.
It's not going to be some dark-haired guy that says, hey, let's move to South America
and
drink some Kool-Aid.
No, don't worry.
No.
When the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords comes back, we're all going to know, and I get goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah, me too.
I await the day. I mean, I don't know if it'll happen in our lifetime. I don't have any predictions. Don't care.
You're not going to predict it?
I am not going to predict it.
You're not going to pull a Battenfield.
I am not going to pull a Battenfield, but I am looking. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it'll happen in my lifetime. If not, I don't know. But it's going to be an exciting time.
Yeah.
I get excited talking about the coming of Jesus.
Well, so did John Battenfield.
But I don't know anything about Revelation. I start reading a little bit. I'm like, I don't need to know that. I don't care. It is what it is. Like, God's going to be like, Stacey, did you read Revelations? Because I need your input.
Yeah, no.
He don't care about my input.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to the day when my Lord comes back. It's going to be awesome.
You got a rule to live by?
I do. I always have rules to live by.
Is it do not follow cult leaders? Is that the rule?
That is a by the way with Beth and Stacey rule. Do not. Hey, if you're contemplating that, exactly. If you're contemplating following a cult, give us a call. Email us at by the way with Beth and Stacey, and we'll tell you what to do.
That's right. By the way with Beth and Stacey at gmail.com.
Okay, this is by William Sprague. Do not wait to strike till the iron is hot, but make it hot by striking.
So
let's ponder that a minute.
Don't wait for the perfect time. Just work hard at it, and the perfect time will come from it. Is that
Do
what
not
that means?
wait to strike till the iron is hot, but make it hot by striking. I say that's a don't wait. Get her done moment.
Yeah. Don't wait. Just keep trying.
Yeah. I don't know. That was an interesting, and I had no idea. And we honestly, Beth was a genius at this story because we got stories planned. We got to the next 10 or 15 episodes we've got. But Battenfield was never one of them.
No.
And this one of the stories that we wanted to do today did not come to play. So, what was it, yesterday?
Yeah.
Afternoon.
Yesterday
afternoon, I'm going to Beth's, and she's like, hey, this story's not,
we're not ready for this story. We don't have enough
we don't have what we
research to make
need.
it happen.
So what about this cult leader? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we
so
do
I
that?
printed out everything we need to know about this guy. We've studied it all evening, yesterday evening and this morning, and we're ready.
And he's literally moved up to one of my favorite people of Clay County.
Yeah, very interesting. That, that just goes to show. You walk through a cemetery and you just see this stone and you think it's just some normal person. But everybody has a story.
Everybody has a story. Yeah.
And to know that fascinating people came from Clay County, a lot of people, young people in Clay County, don't think about that. They just think we're from nowhere, and it's the middle of nowhere. And,
so boring.
And my life is so boring, and this is terrible. But it's you know what? Look into our past, because there's some
if your
crazy
life is
stuff that
boring,
happened.
dive into your county history.
Yeah.
Dive into your town. It won't be boring anymore. I guarantee you'll find yourself wandering cemeteries.
Yes.
I love a cemetery. I always have, but I really like them now.
Stacey and I found ourselves in a cemetery yesterday.
Yeah, we did. Why wouldn't you?
Well, I texted her. I'm like, I know you're on your way over. Don't turn. What I say, don't turn it off. I'm jumping in. We're going on a date to Elmwood.
Yeah, right. So how many friends out there you pull in the driveway and she's coming to the door. Don't shut the golf cart up. We're going to the cemetery. Okay.
And off we went.
off we went to the cemetery.
Yeah,
what a fun day.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, we just
we have a
I
good
don't
time.
know. Maybe we're different.
Maybe a little bit.
All right. Well, that is our day today.
Thanks for joining us. As always, we love talking to you about history. You can always find us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is, by the way, with Beth and Stacey. If you're not watching us on Wabash Channel 100, that is the place to find us.
That's right. Well, I want to wish you all a blessed day, and I'm not predicting when God is coming. God bless you. Have a good one.